the police a, quote, real political goal. Unfortunately, millions of Americans live under liberal local leaders who would rather bend to soft-on-crime radicalism than keep their streets safe. Last year, here in Washington, the U.S. Attorney declined to prosecute 67% of the cases brought to him by police. In Los Angeles, the soft-on-crime DA has tasked his department's investigators with escorting.
Less can apply for a one-time state tax exempt payment of up to $2,000 per household. With rising inflation and gas prices, the fourth round of federal level stimulus has been a big topic of discussion in the last few months. It was just last month when the Biden administration announced that it was considering two options as the official stimulus plan in response to rising gas prices. In May, Delaware began sending relief rebate payments of $300 to taxpayers who filed a return in 2020 due to a budget surplus. Most Delaware residents received these payments in May, and couples filing jointly can get $300 each. The state government is continuing to send these payments throughout the summer, and last month, Ron DeSantis of Florida announced that 59,000 low-income families in the state will qualify for a one-time check of $450 per child. The stimulus is being distributed through the Florida Department of Children and Families to residents. Governor Kemp of Georgia signed legislation to give out rebate payments of $250 for single filers, $375 for head of households, and $500 for those filing jointly. The stimulus package came under the budget surplus in the state, and the Georgia Department of Revenue has been giving out these rebates since May. But the agency has been also anticipating delays due to the amount of refunds. Folks, the IRS has just released a very important announcement in regards to future relief payments. Democrats and Republicans in Congress are now addressing Social Security with new legislation this month. Many economists and lawmakers are now pushing for a $1,400 one-time stimulus check for seniors to be passed as soon as possible. Americans are pessimistic about the future of Social Security, and the crisis has made it even worse. A recent survey found that 59% of people now worry more about Social Security running out of funding than they did before the onset of the crisis. And that has changed their outlook on one of the biggest decisions that they will make in their lives, when they claim Social Security retirement benefits. Almost 1 in 5 survey respondents said the crisis has changed their plans to file for Social Security benefits, with 9% planning to file earlier and 11% delaying filing. Yet the recent Social Security Trustees annual report that was the first to consider the effects of the crisis struck a slightly more optimistic tone. The report projected a new depletion date of 2035 for the program's funds, 1 year later than had been projected in 2021. First payment, a maximum of $841, was issued on September 1st. The second payment, also for up to $841, will be sent out at the end of the month. However, the $1,600 maximum total for September is only for single recipients. An eligible individual with an eligible spouse receives up to $1,200 per payment, while a stipend of $420 per payment goes to those living with or providing for SSI beneficiaries. The program is overseen by the SSA and provides monthly payments to adults and children with a disability or blindness who have income and resources below specific financial limits. SSI payments are also made for people 65 and up without disabilities who meet certain financial qualifications. You might be eligible to receive SSI monthly payments even if you already received SSI or SSDI or retirement benefits. About 7.6 million people receive SSI benefits, in fact, and not everyone gets the same amount. You might get more if you live in a state that adds the money to the federal SSI payment, or get less if you have other income. Because of the way the system works, 2 SSI payments are sent in September, April, and December. But that doesn't mean you're getting extra money. It's to make up to 3 months that have no payments sent out in January, May, and October. There is a new deposit date for inflation checks. Here's the listen up. Listen up, everybody. It's about to get really important. Millions of eligible households who qualify for the SNAP will continue to get an important financial boost amidst an inflation crisis that has dealt the United States a hard blow. The amount each family could receive mainly depends on their income as well as certain expenses. Several states have officially announced they will offer additional SNAP benefits to eligible families. The assistance is intended to help households struggling to make ends meet as a result of joblessness or decreased hours following the crisis. Last year, Congress and the USDA decided to temporarily modify SNAP eligibility. Under the new rules, each household must meet certain requirements and also asset requirements in order to qualify. The household income should be at or below 130% of the federal poverty level, which has been at $1,800 a month in 2022. For example, this means that the federal poverty line for a 3-person family is $2,400 a month. Meanwhile, a household
Last week, I laid out in my budget that we invest more in safer communities and expand access to mental health services for those affected by gun violence. Congressional Republicans should pass my budget instead of calling for cuts in these services or defunding the police.
The project has been receiving an uprising of online activism against it, including more than 1 million letters written to the White House in a protest of the project, in a Change.org petition with millions of signatures. Advocates are expected to challenge the project into court justice. And so, let's see what happens, folks. There is an important update for all Americans. Experts are now warning the American people that you may owe money to the IRS this year. It is due to changes to the tax relief benefits and tax credits, but there are some changes that you can take. Although filing taxes can be a stressful process, there's often an upside. It's getting a refund. This year, filers are not seeing any refunds at all. If anything, they're looking at owing the IRS more money for the first time in a long time. And now, in a recent interview, a chief tax information officer said we are going to see a big increase in balance due filers. But Mark Steber isn't surprised by this trend in the slightest. In fact, he has even anticipated it before. Plus, in 2021, many key tax credits got a stabilized boost. The child tax credit, for example, saw its maximum value rise $2,000 per child to $3,000 per child ages 6 to 17, and $3,600 per child under 6. That was a huge bump. The credit also fully became refundable, so that if an eligible filer owed the IRS more money, it could still receive its entire value. But those enhancements went away in 2022, so did enhancements to the Child Independent Care Credit, and the Earned Income Tax Credit, that is. So that explains why many people are not only seeing tax refunds this year, but looking at the IRS debts. In 2021, the American Rescue Plan sent $1,400 stimulus checks into the recipients' bank accounts. Those who were eligible for the money didn't even receive it in 2021, were able to claim it on 2022 tax returns. But at this point, they aren't even really lingering stimulus funds to collect and use offset to tax liabilities, which also explains why the IRS suddenly started staring down the IRS balances, and they're not sure how they'll recover from this. If you owe the IRS money but don't have it on hand to cover your tax bill, don't panic. They also have a problem, and don't ignore the problem. The good news is that the IRS will commonly let taxpayers and filers pay off their debts over time, via installments and arrangements. It won't stop you from incurring interest, though, on the money you owe to the agency. But if you make your payments in a timely manner under one of those arrangements, the IRS comes after the repaid ones. But Mark Steber, a IRS agent, noted that if you're looking to have a writing from the IRS and a large check, and you've done tax yourself, it could be worth it to hire a professional for another look. They may be able to find different deductions that you didn't know you were eligible for.
Spending on little ones, and we need to be investing a lot more in childcare to grow our economy. But these MAGA House Republicans are threatening to cut the little bit of funding that we do have going into childcare.
To offend America's health, security, and freedom.